Hello and welcome to another edition of the ISP Educates ME Podcast. My name is Rory Galvin. I'm the Regional Learning Director for ISP here in the Middle East, and I'm delighted to welcome Dawn Rennie, Regional Head of Admissions for ISP. Dawn, delighted to have you here.
Thank you for inviting me.
So Dawn, tell me a little bit about how you got into admissions as a career.
Okay, it wasn't what I planned. We've been in the Middle East now for 15 years. When we moved here, was I looking for work? I was looking to do something. My passion, and I enjoy working with people. Customer service is a passion of mine. I started my career in hospitality. I then worked for airlines for a number of years, and then we relocated here as a family, say 15 years ago. I wanted to find something where my skill set matched in a job, and I sort of stumbled into admissions. It fitted with everything that I like to do, people, meeting new parents, and for me, I felt I had some advice to give and I could support parents because I'd been through the process myself. I could look at the pitfalls and the pluses that we'd gone through, and I felt that was valuable. So when I started off as an admissions manager here, and I was able to help those parents and support them, and I felt like a relocation agent at some point. We're actually working in a school and telling parents, oh, you could live here and you can do this and you can look to still get your British foods online and this is how you get them. So yeah, I like meeting with people and I like talking with people and then guiding them through that process of moving schools. It can be daunting. It can be really hard for families, and you're uprooting your family and you're moving away from your family and you're coming to the Middle East and you have to start again. So yeah.
Oftentimes the admissions manager might be the first person that a family meets when they land in the new country.
Yeah, definitely. And hopefully one of the admissions team have spoken to the families on the phone. They've made a connection. Most of our families make an initial inquiry via email or via telephone call. And by that time, we found out about the family, why they're looking to move, who their children are, what their children's passions are, what they want to find from a school. So actually, when that family arrives and they've come over for a visit or they've made the move, you feel like you're meeting an old friend sometimes. Because you've known them for quite a while, talking back and forth on email or WhatsApp, and yeah, seeing them and meeting them and providing them the support that they require, because some people do require support, not just here's the school and please enroll.
And so from your experience with your family relocating here, what was your experience like and what did you learn from that and take forward into your position?
I did my research from back in the UK. When we came out here, we then toured the schools. And like I said earlier, you have to go and have a look and look at reviews of the schools because it's not always as it seems online. And making those decisions weren't just my decisions, it was the decisions of our children as well. So we went to look at 3 schools, 3 houses, and we said to the children, these are the schools that you could pick. If you pick this school, it'll be this house in this area. And we let them sort of make a decision, but it was as a family, over the dinner table, out in a restaurant, why they wanted to pick a certain school, what was it about it. And the school that we did choose felt like home to them. And that's where they stayed, and that's where they graduated from year 7 and carried on to do their A-levels and BTEC for my son, and then went back to the UK for university.
That's a powerful experience to have when you're talking to new families.
Definitely, and that's something that when I'm talking to my own admissions teams, you know, we have 10 schools now, 3 or 4 members of staff in the admissions teams as well. And I always say to them, when you're speaking to a family, put yourself in their shoes. How do you think they feel? And how would you like to be treated? When a family come in, put yourself in their space. Lots of my teams have got children, so it's easy for them to put themselves in that place because they've been there, they've had to move and bring their children across. So Rory, I've been in the Middle East 15 years. how long have you been here? And what were you looking for when you were looking to move your children to the Middle East?
So I first came to the Middle East almost 25 years ago. Obviously, that was a different time. That was before kids came along. I left and I took some other international opportunities. I came back in 2013, just after our first child had been born. And subsequently, we've had another child. So I have two daughters, one age 12, one age 7. They're both in a great school. We're very, very happy with the standard of education that they get. But for me personally, what I hold dear in terms of what I want for my children out of an educational experience, I want them to be happy. That's number one, above all. I want them to have friends. For me, I very much value an international experience. So I want them to be exposed to a range of different languages, different cultures, different perspectives. I also want them to be exposed to as many opportunities as they can be, so that they can uncover their passions. And then down the line, I want them to obviously achieve academically. But I would say that the other 4 areas I've mentioned are probably more important. So for you, for your children, what did you want when you were looking to place them in a school?
For me, my children moved here when they were in secondary school. One was going into year 7, one was going into year 8. So for us, we had to consider what would they be doing afterwards. Were they going to do their GCSEs, IB, A-levels, BTEC? So we had to find a school that hopefully suited both children, wanted them to be safe and happy, ensuring that they were achieving in their learning. But ultimately, were they going to be able to move on to a university back in our home country? And yes, they have been able to. Both my children took different avenues. One child took, well, my daughter, studied A-levels, and my son took the BTEC route, because that was what suited him the best.
And I think that these are all areas that parents, I think, have to grapple with.
Yeah.
You know, they have to talk about and consider where their kids will end up. And that might not necessarily be in a university in their home country anymore. There's a range of universities all around the world that offer programs in English, and you know, fantastic opportunities that you might not necessarily be able to get in your home country. You mentioned the different pathways there as well. One of your children does exactly what it says on the 10A level pathway, and your other child did the BTEC pathway. Can you maybe talk a little bit about the considerations and the conversations that you had around the dinner table when those choices came up?
I think you get to know your children as they're going through GCSEs. You know what kind of learner they are, where they feel comfortable with their learning. Is someone a bit more studious who likes to study? Is the other child more likely to prefer project work and exams, which the BTEC is, which is a great pathway for a child that might have sort of exam phobia, who doesn't like the traditional route of sitting and studying and then the exam at the end. So you have to look at each individual child, what makes them happy. If they are happy whilst they're learning, they're going to succeed better and achieve the results, which is ultimately what we want them to do. Absolutely,
yeah. And I think sometimes we get bogged down as educators into this binary choice as to whether, you know, one particular curricula is better than another, or one program is better than another, and there's a little bit of academic snobbery that goes along with that. But the reality is that all of the pathways that are out there that we have, that parents, particularly in the UAE, have choice to decide on, they will ultimately get their kids to their future pathway.
Exactly, and you have to go with what is right for your individual child. One thing doesn't fit every single child. You have to look at what is best for them. Yeah.
So if I were a parent and you were going to tour me around a school, what are some of the things that maybe you would want to highlight?
Okay, so common questions more than anything. What parents ask are class sizes, nationality of our students in the classes, in the school, who the senior leadership teams are, how long have they been in the Middle East, how long have they been teaching at the school, is there stability in the school, subjects that we offer, and again we've touched on future pathways. What are we offering? Our examination results.
These are all really important questions, and I think definitely there are elements there that certainly resonated with me when I was looking for a school for my children here, particularly from a leadership perspective, given that I am an educational leader and I was a senior leader in schools for over 20 years. Stability is absolutely crucial. Knowing that there's somebody there who has been given the time and the support to grow the school, to ensure that all of the different strategic areas are being concentrated on, and that the school is improving and getting better is really crucial, and that's cascaded down throughout all elements and strata of leadership in the school. So really important question there. In terms of things like class sizes, this is again another hot topic I know amongst parents. Parents tend to think that the smaller the class, the better the education will be. I mean, obviously there's two extremes. You know, nobody wants to see a class of 50 or 60 students, but by the same token, I know, and speaking from personal experience, it's really hard to teach a very small class, because oftentimes you don't have that interaction and that interplay between different people and different groupings, and the opportunity to get students to learn from each other and different perspectives. Is that something that comes up a lot?
Class sizes do come up a lot. As people are under the impression, like you say, that the smaller the class is, the better the learning's going to be. But from a teaching and learning point of view, and speaking to our educators, having those larger class sizes, sort of 24, 25, 26, you have then the other children that they're learning with.
And of course, in all of our schools, we have very experienced teachers along with TA support. So there's lots of different tiers of support that our students can access.
Yep, we've got obviously the class teacher, TAs in the class, and some of our schools we have individual one-on-one support for our children as well.
So we talked about lots of different considerations. We talked about the pathways. We talked about things like class sizes. But if I'm a parent, what are some of the other considerations that I should have in my mind?
Do your research. Okay, look the school
Really
up
important.
on the websites. Speak to friends, family, word of mouth. Most importantly, visit the school. Go and have a look at the school. Take your children to the school if possible. All of our schools do weekly tours, daily tours, weekend tours. There's always a time for a family to visit us. And as you know, you visited lots of schools when you were looking for schools for your children. I did the same. You get that feeling when you go into a school. You've gone past security, you've gone into reception. It's the welcome you feel. Do you get that feeling of home, especially for us, and moving from the UK? Did my children feel comfortable? Did they feel at ease? Were their leadership supported when we went there? Were our questions answered? Were we able to go into classrooms, or was the door shut that we couldn't see what was going on in the classrooms? When you're taking a school tour, make sure that you can go into the classrooms. They're not closed, and no, you can't look in there. You want to see the children are happily learning. Teachers are interacting with the children. It's really important. And even with secondary children, are the children behaving themselves? Are they learning? Are they being active learners rather than being disruptive? I've been in some schools where it happens.
Are they in that good struggle, we would say, within ISP? We want all of our students to be in that good struggle. Great. So as a parent is being toured, and obviously we've both toured parents from different perspectives. As a parent is being toured around the school, what are some of the things that they should be asking the leadership team or the admissions director as they're being toured?
It comes down to the individual parent, what they're looking for a school. Common questions, I would say, are class sizes, school timings, what after-school activities are provided by the school. Are they included? Are they chargeable? Do we offer a breakfast club? Yes. Do we offer after-school care? Yes. Bus travel times is a really hard one for our families. in the Middle East. Lots of our parents work, so they do have to rely upon our own school transports. So transport is really, really important to parents as well. We've gone through and discussed earlier about the different pathways what we offer. Is it going to be an IB, a British curriculum, or is it going to be a BTEC pathway? University options. Where do our children go after they finish their education in the Middle East? How easy is it for the children to transfer back to their home country or another country? So having that experience to talk about universities, UCAS points and how they translate from their A-level results are all things that our admissions teams support in when parents come in.
It's never too early to start talking about university. I once toured a lady, and she really gave me a grilling about where our students went to university, and I asked her how old her child was, and she announced that she was 6 months pregnant. So she was getting ahead of the game there.
I think we've all had parents like that. I've had parents queuing up and baby's not even born yet, but they're registering for FS1.
Yeah.
Which is fantastic. It's good to be prepared.
Yeah, absolutely.